Hello there, friends. Welcome to a game of no halves. It's me,
Hello.
Miles. It's Bob. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good, Miles. How are you?
I'm very well. This is the podcast where we explore Bob's fictitious football team called North London FC. And Bob,
Yes.
well, we've gone viral by all accounts.
I know. Well, it's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it's great.
How many views are there now? 2.3 million
I
or
think,
something?
Yeah, 2.5 million or something on
Wow.
Twitter, something along those lines.
Yes.
So for all the people who have followed and started listening from that video, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the crazy world of North London. It's great to have so many of you listening after that. I mean, we made the top 30 on Spotify Sports, in the top 20 in Apple, which is amazing. Thank you all very much for this.
So we want to just keep this going now.
Oh, yes.
Stay with us. But some of the comments.
I know.
Oh, my
Actually, yeah, you're
goodness.
right. So what we did basically is I posted a little video of me and Bob sat at this very desk after recording our previous episode.
Explaining the stats.
Yeah, and I was kind of getting Bob to talk through everything, really, how this works and everything like that. And all the stats you typed out. So, Bob, a refresher, let's give it like a 1 minute overview of this.
Okay.
So, Game of No Halves is about a football team that you've invented called North London.
Yes.
And over the past 30, 35 years,
Yes.
you have taken a phone football very much like the one that's on the desk in front of us.
Yes, and kicked it around the house.
And you play games with it around the house. How do the games work?
So, I kick off.
Well, so to start with, because you were saying that what you do is you'd have some paper, right? And you'd write out your team for the game, yeah?
So I'd put a piece of paper on the kitchen table and I'd write out the formation, which for me is normally 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, and the formation is made up of squad players from North London, of which they're real players, but also you've got some academy graduates in inverted commas that you've scouted over the years, right?
So, for example, when Man United let David De Gea go, boom, I signed him immediately.
Right.
So he's my goalie. Matt Astor, with whom I was having a pint on Saturday afternoon.
So Matt he's the younger brother of one of my oldest schoolmates and one of my younger brother's best mates as well. And I play five-a-side with him still, like in Oxfordshire. So it's hilarious that he's in the team.
So at the beginning, this is at the beginning of the 2023-24 season.
Yeah.
My centre-backs De Ligt and Freddie Haynes.
Yeah.
And Guerrero.
Guerrero. The Portuguese player to Dortmund.
He's been replaced
Munich now,
since the beginning of the season by Nuno Mendes.
Okay, yeah.
The two in front of the back four.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, of course.
And Cataldi. Daniele Cataldi.
And this is a real player, but he's somebody that's kind of come on a lot more for North London than in real life.
Yeah.
We looked this up the other day, didn't we, about who Cataldi actually plays for in real life. It's an Italian team, isn't it?
So then
Danilo Cataldi, that's him, isn't it?
On the right, Mbappe.
Okay, fair enough.
On the left, the wonderful Musiala.
Yeah,
I'm mad about
having
Musiala.
a great Euros.
Dan Olsen is my number 10.
And Dan Olsen is actually a singer from the Faroe Islands.
Yes, and they all sit behind Osimhen, who's my number 9.
There you go. And so that's the current season, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So that's this year. So what you do before you play a game? So you'd write out your
I'd write that out.
Yeah.
Put the paper on the kitchen table. And then begin the game. I'd kick off and start knocking the ball around, kicking it against the wall so it would bounce back to me. Different angles around the house, bouncing back to me, building up moves.
And this entire time in your head, you're imagining yourself being players in the team, are you?
Yes.
So it
comes back to me and I'm Dan Olsen,
okay.
let's say. And he has a particular role in the team because we've been training with him over and over again, long distance shooting.
Okay.
So we're seeing a lot of long distance shots in the Euros. And they're as good as undefendable against. So two of my players, Freddie Haynes and Dan Olsen.
Freddie Haynes is also an academy graduate, somebody that me and my brother went to primary school with, and haven't actually seen in about 20 years. But is he still in the North London team at this point?
Well, he's 37 years old.
He's the Thiago Silva of the team, the Pepe of the team.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, for Portugal, is incredible, isn't he?
41 years old.
And still, the other day, he was majestic. It's amazing. Anyway.
So I build up movements to score goals in various goal mouths in the house.
Yeah,
the coffee table in the sitting room, the coffee table or the low table in the hall, and various chairs that are placed around.
What we're going to do, once we finish recording this episode, I'm going to film Bob kicking the ball around a little bit so that you can see how a game actually works. So if you want to see that, go to our socials. We're at A Game of No Halves across all social media, and we'll post that video this week so you can see a real life North London game taking place.
Because this is the biggest question, isn't it? How does Bob do this?
Yeah.
So as I'm as I'm kicking the ball around, if I score, I go to the kitchen table and I write in, let's say, Musiala, 22 minutes, and a brief description of the goal. I write it all out.
And how are you keeping track of the time in your head as well? So how do you know it's 22 minutes gone?
Well, that's a bit of a Well, also, you see...
You don't have a stopwatch going in the corner that you...
No, but the one thing I can't replicate here, obviously, is throw-ins.
No, true.
Because it never.
Well, you could, I guess.
But never goes out of play.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't. So you're not coming down the hallway, and if it accidentally like veers off into a different room, that's gone out of play. What does that mean?
No, that means I've lost possession.
You just lost it, okay.
And then that goes to the opposition.
Yeah, and then so when you lose possession, you also then become the opposition, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And you play as the opposition.
And then I play as the opposition.
Yeah.
Which is slightly more difficult because obviously with...
Well, you're going to be a little bit biased, surely, aren't you, in your head? Are you going to want to...
Not necessarily, no. But the difficulty with it is that with North London, of course, when the ball does come up my feet, I know who I am.
True, and I suppose for the bigger teams that you know the players of more, you can imagine who you are better.
So when I play Man United, let's say, I know when the ball bounces to me that at this moment I'm Bruno.
Yeah, fair.
And he's passing out to Rashford,
right?
Let's say, so I can visualise that.
but if you're playing like CFR Cluj in the Champions League, then
it's a bit of a lottery.
Amazing.
So then I'm trying to be my best version of myself. To be
that's good. PMA, Bob.
Yeah,
positive mental attitude here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To represent that team as best as I can, so that they have an equal chance of scoring.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the only time where I must say sometimes temptation does get the better of me. Let's say I'm 2-1 down. We're just approaching the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
How many minutes of stoppage time do I give myself?
Oh, so there's some
to get that.
There's Bobby time rather than Fergie time, is there?
Bobby time rather than Fergie time. Yes, there is.
So speaking of all of this, so I made a little video of me and Bob explaining this crazy world and what he does, and it's gone a bit mad on Twitter, which is amazing. But there's
2.5 million.
I know, but there's some
of the comments,
some of the quote tweets. Basically, I thought, Bob, just to start off today, I could read out some of these quote tweets because they're so funny.
Right.
Speaking of how you play the games, because a lot of people will comment and be like, but surely he just scores every time he shoots, and it's like 25-0 every game he plays. But you're quite strict with yourself.
Yes, I am.
But this is
anyway, scoring's not as easy as you think it is.
Well, so
because honestly, in my head, if I've shot and it's in the centre of the goal, obviously the goalkeeper's going to.
Yeah, so you're even strict about that.
Yeah.
Do you ever like lay a shoe or something in the goal?
Sometimes. and
be the keeper.
When my cat Colby was alive, he would join in the games quite regularly, and he'd be the central defender.
Well, David Hayes used to be called a cat in goal with his reflexes.
That's true.
Anyway, but speaking of this, okay, so this is one of the quote tweets.
Okay,
somebody who maybe doesn't seem like they're a particular fan of it, but I just thought this was so funny. So they've replied to it saying, "Awful. Worst part of it all, he plays games in his house with a foam football and somehow ended up with a 0-0. Just fucking score, lad. There's an invisible goalie playing between the door frame."
There's an invisible goalie between the door frame.
It's
true.
There's also there was a quote tweet, Bob. So somebody quoted. So my original tweet, it's now got 2.6 million views.
Yeah.
And so there's a quote tweet of our video that's had 1.1 million views from somebody, and it just says, "Autism in men is a superpower, not a disability."
Yes, I own it.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, you've never actually been diagnosed with autism or anything, have you?
No, I haven't. But
you know,
whatever it is,
this is funny as well, because obviously a lot of people have seen this video, and it's just me saying, "Oh, you know." So what I put on the video as the tweet was, "Did my dad invent Football Manager?"
Yes.
And loads of people are just clicking on this, and they don't know really who either of us are.
Yes.
It's just a video that's come up, and loads of people have clicked that it's you.
Yes.
And so this one said, "Just clicked who his dad actually is, Bob Harris, country music royalty. I don't think I've ever seen a dude rock harder." That was quite good as well. There is some another one here who realised it was you and said, "It's weird, but it's actually the most Bob Harris thing I could ever have imagined. I love this."
It's so funny, isn't it?
It's also I read you this one yesterday because I'm slightly annoyed by this one, Bob, because it says here, Miles's dad just wrestled back the title of coolest person in their family. So you've overtaken me again to be the coolest person in the family.
Well,
Bob.
Miles, you see, I set the bar very high.
Which is we'll end on this one before we move into the next segment. I think this is funny. It just says the set of bollocks he has on him to allow this to be made public, let alone create a podcast out of it, deserves our respect. And I agree. Yeah. So anyway, if you've arrived at this podcast from that tweet, then thank you very much for joining and listening. We've actually got a very special guest coming up at the end of this podcast, because North London Royalty, the fourth all-time top scorer for North London, will be on the podcast at the end of this episode. So stay tuned, and we'll meet him in a little while. Yeah. But after all of this, Bob, we need to get back to what the podcast is really about, don't we? And that is following North London's history. Yes. And so down here, again, if you've seen the video, this is the box of all of the stats that I showed on the video. I'm just plonking it in front of me here. We are now in 2011 to 2012, Bob. That's where we've arrived. And
have you got this on your laptop as well?
I do, but I thought we could go analog for this. Hang on. So
you see, the thing is, I haven't looked at these stats for a long time because I've been obviously playing the matches, building up the stats. They're all on my PC in the studio. Yeah. And so we've printed them off. Yeah. So I'm rediscovering these, bearing in mind 2011, 12?
Yeah, 2011, 12.
How many years ago is that? 12, 13 years ago? Yeah. So I've forgotten what happens in the matches.
Which I love. And this is why I like you to react live to it when I'm reading this out. Now, one thing I will notice, Bob, straight away is the front page. There's more information. So you've started going a bit more in depth. So the front page, I'm showing the camera now if you're not watching. The front page is the squad. At the start of the season. And with this one, you've got everybody's ages. Yes. You've also got how many appearances they made throughout the season. Yes. So we'll get onto that in a little while, because the first thing to do is to look at the transfer window. And it's a big, big transfer window, but there's a lot of transfers out and in. Okay.
Talking about the transfer window, nowadays, on the most recent season, transfers in go in red.
Oh,
their first appearance,
color-coded.
First appearance in the team. Yeah. First goal in the team. And here, look, Miles. Yeah. I put press conference.
Press conference.
Unveiling major signings. Because... So
do you actually hold
imaginary press conferences?
You go upstairs and whack on a suit, do you, and stand in the sitting room, and you've got your arm around nobody with a
shirt. Because when I used to do a lot of walking, and this whole football thing was a big part of my overall fitness regime.
That is unbelievable.
So when I was walking, I'd be working out tactics for the next game. Yeah. So, for example, I'd know that I'd be playing Chelsea away, and what is the best way of winning this match? Right. The best formation, the best tactics, and everything else. Yep. I've done this forever, and I'm walking around the green at the bottom of the road in the centre of the village, or I'm up on the ridge or something, and I'm walking along and I'm thinking about tactics, and then I'm at my press conference.
I can't believe this. Oh my
announcing the team.
It is literally like you've invented Football Manager. And so actual Football Manager have been in touch with us on social media saying how amazing they think this is, which is so cool.
So just to say, and I own the autism comments and everything else that everybody's saying, because this takes me to a place of tranquility. Well, you know, and happiness.
That's the overriding thing on socials is that basically, like how happy you look, and how it's actually quite healthy to have something where you just mindlessly can take yourself away from the real world for a bit, isn't it?
I disappear.
It's what video games do, really. It's like you're playing a video game, but you're actually playing it.
Yes.
So before we get into the transfer window, then. From last season, I'm just looking at the honours list. So you won the FA Cup, but that was the only silverware last year. You were runners-up in the Premier League, semi-finalist in the Champions League, and the Carling Cup, you only got to the third round. So
not a great season.
No, but still some silverware. But I feel that you've looked at this and you thought, let's get in some bolstering of the squad. So, Bob, going into the transfer budget, it says here your budget carried over was 116.9 million, apparently, and you got 30 million for getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Yes. So, and just to explain that, the manager, i.e. me, is allowed all the money generated by a run in the Champions League.
So this is how the budgets are worked out,
mine
is it? Right,
to spend on players, and obviously whatever money comes in from the sale of players. So that's the total. That's the way the total works.
Right.
So players have to go out really. Before they come in.
Okay, fine. So you know how much you've got to work with.
Yes.
AKA. Well, Bob, this transfer budget, I'm just looking in at the previous season and the squad, because this transfer window is very, very interesting for me. Okay. We'll go with the outs first.
Yes.
There are some huge outs this transfer window, right? The first one being, and this is actually very sad, Ian Giggs has retired, Bob.
Well...
So for those listening for the first time who don't know what this is, Bob has a rule with the squad that he's not allowed to have a player in the North London squad that also plays for another Premier League team, right?
Because otherwise they'd be playing against each other when they play. That doesn't work. The only time I blurred that line is in the Champions League.
Okay. And so, but Bob really liked Ryan Giggs as a player, so he just invented that he had a twin brother called Ian Giggs. Anyway, I guess this probably...
Equally talented.
Yeah, 2011-12 would have been about the time
run at them.
Actual Ryan Giggs would have retired in real life, so I guess he's just followed up from his twin brother. So he's left, he's retired. Also leaving, Bob.
Yes.
Riquelme.
I know.
He's out on a free.
What was his age?
I don't know if it even says on the squad list, because he would have gone. Let me check on the previous season.
Riquelme,
32.
Truly.
So 33 he would have been at this sort of time.
And he wanted to go home.
Yeah,
basically.
So I mean, he played 31 games last season though.
Yes.
So
I think he was my Cantona.
Yeah, Riquelme. He just came in for that time, did his job.
Yeah.
So then other outs, Quaresma, who really hardly featured by the sounds of it, has gone for 5.3 million. Bedwell, who used to play with us at primary school.
Yes.
He's out for 6.2 million. David Luiz, who I think you only had for a season, has gone for 17.7 million.
Because then he joined Chelsea, so I couldn't keep him. Yeah.
Royston Drenthe, who we're talking about, has actually gone on loan to Everton, which again, that did happen in real life.
That did happen.
Because he went from Real Madrid to Everton on loan,
That's
I think.
right. Yeah.
This is the biggest sale of the transfer window there, Bob. Fernando Torres has gone for 50 million.
Okay.
And again, I guess that must be because he's now playing for Liverpool or for Chelsea or something.
Yes.
Anyway, you've generated, along with the 116.9 million and the 30 million from the Champions League, you've got a budget now of 226 mil in the bank.
Right.
Which is a lot.
Yes.
So, the ins, again, some very, very interesting ins here. First of all, alone, Nathan Redmond at 18 years old has come in.
Oh, yeah. Now, Nathan Redmond, wasn't he good? See, at this point...
He's still playing. He still plays for Southampton, doesn't he?
Yeah. See, at this point, he wouldn't have broken into the first team yet.
Yeah.
So I was able to just pull the...
So, but a loan's interesting, isn't it? So you've obviously seen it and you're like, he's got potential.
Yes.
We're going to see how much potential he's got.
He hasn't broken into the first team yet.
Yeah.
I can use him as a squad player.
But interesting scouting, because Nathan Redmond actually, he's actually one of those players, I've said this before, that I think has always been slightly underappreciated, but never also quite pushed on, because the whole time when he was young, he looked like he was going to be absolutely sensational. Yeah, a bit like Theo Walcott, who I think did become more of a player than Redmond, possibly. Another 18-year-old midfielder, Bob, and this is an interesting one too, Christian Eriksen has come into the team. 12.5 million. And that would have been from Ajax, right? I guess back then.
I got to tell you, honestly...
Your scouting network.
My scouting network is second to none.
Right.
I mean, I signed Erling Haaland when nobody had ever heard of him.
So how do you go about this then, Bob? How do you go about scouting players and bringing them in?
Well, I read a lot of sort of the equivalent of what is now The Athletic.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like the way that I scout for new music, quite honestly. Seriously, it is.
You get sent players in the post.
They drop on the doormat. Have a look at them, see if they're going to play. But it kind of is the same thing because I'm constantly searching for new music to play on my shows.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly, and now with the internet, so
that's
accessible.
It. Well, I mean, so for me and for a lot of other people of my age, I know about all the young up-and-coming players literally from Football Manager and FIFA and the EAFC.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Well,
but you're slightly more analog because there's a great website called Transfermarkt, which I use quite a lot.
Right.
Which is quite good for looking at new players and their values and everything like that. But so how would you go about it then?
I want to see a player on video.
So
I don't want highlights video.
No, because it always makes players look so much better than they are. I remember when Man United signed like Fred, who, by the way, I actually did like Fred when he played for United, but I thought we signed like this incredible midfielder who could score from 40 yards and all that stuff. Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah.
Another underappreciated player, though, I think, at United, Fred, because he's done well when he's gone to Fenerbahce now. Anyway.
Yeah, so, but I want to see them in situ. I want to see them in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think it is quite amazing how quickly you can see whether a player has just got it or not.
You know who that most recently has been with me? And I watched him for about 5 minutes and I was like, he's got it. It was Cobby. Manu. It's funny how you can do right. They don't even have to particularly have done anything incredible, but you can just look at them and think, he's got whatever it is.
You see, I mean, it is possible for me to sign a player that's been sold by a Premier League player to a European team. Now, I can step in and gazump. Like I did with Jude Bellingham.
Right. So
I just outbid Real Madrid. Because, I mean, nowadays I've got so much money in my
you would have outbid... Oh, Real Madrid, of course, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Yes. So they paid, what, 115 million?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, well, I mean, I can dwarf that.
Yeah, and of course, he wanted to play for North London over Real Madrid, clearly.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I paid, well, actually...
Yeah. Look, here we go. You paid 111.5.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Jamal Musiala, Bayern Munich in Germany, attacking midfield, 105 million.
Yeah. I think we might be blowing the lines here slightly, Bob, because we're going between transfer windows. But
I know we are. But Erling Haaland.
Yeah. Oh, you sold? Oh, because he went to City.
For 186 million.
Yeah.
I also sold Sandro Tonali.
Yeah.
Carlos Casemiro. Upamecano, Lucas Toussaint, and David Alaba. They were all on my out tray. And so between everything, I've now got a transfer budget of 730 million, 87,000.
And this is in the present day season, isn't it?
So I signed Jude Bellingham, Jamal Musiala, Nuno Mendes, Marquinhos, PSG in Brazil, brilliant centre-back. Commanding centre-back, and Osimhen, 105 million from Napoli.
Yeah.
But he is not really, and David De Gea for a free. So that's that was my squad for the beginning of last season.
For this current season. I still can't believe nobody's picked up De Gea in real life.
I know.
Crazy.
Well, I did.
Well, there you go. Anyway, back to 2011-12.
Yeah.
So Redmond on loan, Ericsson for 12.5 million.
Yeah.
You've also signed Diego Godin from...
Yes.
I don't know whether it would have been Atletico at this point, whether it's
before
then.
He's
25.
Centre defender.
He was brilliant.
Brilliant.
I'll tell you what, talking of underappreciated players, and I honestly think Jan Oblak for Atletico Madrid has been the best goalkeeper in the world over the past decade or so.
Okay.
I would say. The two of them when they were at Atletico were
I tell
amazing.
you who I'd probably liken Godin to, Martinez. Man United.
Yeah.
In so much as the determination.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about playing style.
Right, I see. Yeah.
But I'm talking about that never give up on anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Atletico,
attitude,
they are that, aren't they? So Godin is in. Also coming in, 24-year-old Giuseppe Rossi.
Bless him.
If he didn't have so many injuries, I'm telling you, he would have been
fabulous.
Regarded as a really, really great
United
player.
let him go. Yeah. And on a whim, I sort of signed him because I thought, if we can get him over his injuries.
Because he had
get him back to fitness.
He had a few really good seasons at Villarreal, didn't he, when he was there? And he was there with Diego Forlan and people like that when they were playing.
How much did I pay?
So you paid 22.7 for him, which I think is fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
Also coming in, Karim Benzema, 24 years old for 46.7 million.
Yes.
That's a big signing. So he's kind of replacing Fernando Torres. And also, for me, this is the most interesting signing of the window. You've re-signed Kaká, 30 years old for 19.8 million.
I actually don't remember doing that.
Really? Well, yeah, maybe it says here.
Wow.
So Kaká's back.
Kaká's back.
I think Riquelme's gone on a free, so you've had to fill that hole.
Yes.
So Kaká is back in, and he's taken the number 10 shirt. I thought you'd go back to number 22, but he's number 10. So you've got a 30-year-old Kaká back in the ranks, Bob.
Okay.
So that was the transfer window. You spent. I can't remember how much altogether, but you've got 106 million left in the budget if you would like to use it.
So for the January transfer window, let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's somebody I need.
Yeah. Pre-season, you've got the Mediterranean Cup.
Yes. Just to explain, I have a hotel and training complex near Faro
in the North London world, not in real life.
Yeah.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
In real life, that would be great.
It would be great.
Have a hotel complex.
The complex has a little mini stadium.
Yep.
Which holds about 11,000 people. And you can book into the hotel and just have a wonderful time in the hotel itself. But there are VIP packages that allow you to watch training.
Yeah.
Because it's a warm weather training camp and it's 2 hours by plane.
Yeah.
So even if, we want to take a little break as the season progresses, we can pop down there for a couple of days, have a bit of warm weather training, a bit of swimming in the pool, come back refreshed,
Lovely
so
stuff.
As a guest at the hotel, if you want a big VIP package, you've got access to training. And then in the summer, we hold the Mediterranean Cup.
Yeah. And so it's kind of teams from around those countries.
In the little stadium. So it's teams, from around the Mediterranean. So for
example, the Mediterranean Cup clearly is just a four-team group
pre-season. Yeah.
So it's you, AC Milan, Marseille and Porto, the four teams who are in it. Results-wise, you beat AC Milan 5-2 in the opening game. Big win there. Goal for my bud Simon Astor in the 88th minute. Yeah. Benzema gets a goal in his debut as well.
Very good.
Marseille, you beat them 2-1. Yeah. Benzema and Kaká.
Yeah.
And Porto, you beat them 4-0.
Wow.
Benzema again, he's got 3 and 3 at the start of his career for North London. And Kaká gets another goal there. Yes. Best performance of the tournament. Benzema, sensational. So you top the group with 9 points and you win the Mediterranean Cup in pre-season, Bob, which is good news. There it's been lifted into the air. So, into the Premier League. Now, those of you who joined this last episode will know that, Bob, I'm sad to say, you bottled the league, didn't you, at the end of last season?
Right at the end.
It's like 3 defeats in a row at the very end, and it was... it's first time in North London history I can remember something like that happening.
Yeah.
So you're wanting to bounce back here.
Determined.
And start the season off with a bang.
Yeah.
First game is a difficult one at home against Chelsea.
Okay.
But you get a 1-0 win. Karim Benzema with the goal in his official debut. Good, solid, occasionally creative start, it says here. Ends run of 3 successive defeats. So you've started the season off with a win. Yes. And then away against Norwich City is a 2-0 win there. Mesut Ozil and Giuseppe Rossi scores his first goal for the club.
Yeah.
New 4-3-3 system works brilliantly, Bob, it says here.
So I've moved away from 4-2-3-1.
Well, so the team, I was in goal. You got Ben Barnard at right back with Simon Astor at left back. Yeah. Godin and Freddie Haynes as the 2 centre backs.
Yeah. So 3 academy players out of 4. Well, 4 academy players out of 5.
In the back 5. Yeah, that's right. Diego Godin's the only actual footballer in there. Yes. The 3 in midfield are Kaká, Schweinsteiger, and Mats Hummels, who you are playing as a midfielder more than a defender in this world.
He can drop back just in front of the back 4.
So I mean,
Kaká on the right.
So Kaká, it's 3 central midfielders, and then you've got 2 wingers, which it looks like is Mesut Ozil on the right-hand side, and Giuseppe Rossi on the left, with Sam Tokolov as the lone striker. That's a rogue formation.
That is, isn't it?
But it works.
Yeah.
I wonder if the new 4-3-3 system will be adopted for the rest of the season, Bob.
Yeah.
You're playing it in the next game away at West Brom, and it's
where's Karim Benzema then?
Benzema starting this one up front.
Okay.
But the 4-3-3 works again. 3-0.
Okay.
Benzema with 2, and Ozil with 1 coming off the right-hand side.
Yes.
And then at home against Liverpool, you revert back to actually what looks like a 4-1-3-2. So David Villa's joined Karim Benzema up front for this. Dylan on the left-hand side is back in the team.
Yes.
And you get a sort of what's this tight, steady performance, and it's a 1-0 win. Diego Godin with a header from a corner.
Wow. If we went back over the stats and just concentrated on the games against Liverpool, it's really strange. I seem to win against Liverpool every single time I play them.
You do.
Yeah.
And then the next game is an away game at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland. 2-0 win. Rossi
Yes.
And Toe Club with his first goal of the season. Excellent, skillful performance from second string. So you have played a bit of a second string here. Mark Barnard starts in goal with his son Ben Barnard at right back. David Bennett left back with Hoffland and Simon Astor in central defence. Schweinsteiger, Eriksson and Hummels. It's a 4-3-3 again. And Pato, Toklov and Rossi with the front three.
Okay.
So it's interesting. So after 5 games, it means that you and Man United are joint top of the table on 15 points, having won all of your games.
All 5 so far.
Yeah, you and United both doing the business early on in the season. So a good start, Bob, it's looking like.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we didn't see the Charity Shield at the start of the season, Bob.
No.
Which you drew 2-2 with Man United and lost 4-2 on penalties, unfortunately. So no Charity Shield, but that's fine.
Right.
In the Carling Cup, you play Spurs at home in what would be the third round, I suppose, right? And it's a 1-0 win. So you are through in that.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as we go through the season, we'll come back to the cup results because that's the first game of the cup, and we haven't reached the rest of it yet.
Yes.
Back to the league. Big game here against Man United. 2 top of the table teams.
Yes.
And it's a 2-2 draw at home. So matching the result in the Charity Shield. Ozil and David Villa with the goals for you. Not a classic, says Bob. Drop points and concede Premiership goals for the first time this season. I didn't even realise he hadn't conceded a goal yet.
Yeah.
Villa scores his 50th Premiership goal. You hit the woodwork 5 times, apparently. But 2-2 it finishes. Then away at Swansea City. It's a 3-1 win.
Swansea City.
Toklov, Pato and Kaka.
Yeah.
First half defensive chaos, says Bob here. So Booker, Godin, Astor and Bennett clearly weren't clicking at the back.
Right.
Swansea have countless chances. They hit the woodwork 4 times in this game.
Wow.
Swansea goal follows mistake by Hummels. Oh dear.
Oh.
Team gains control in the second half and gains comfortable win. So you came through with the victory in the end. And then home against Fulham in the next game, Kaka scores the only goal there for a 1-0 win, which leaves you in second, joint on points with Manchester City, who clearly have now started to become
just starting to
the
get
force.
good, aren't they?
22 points each for you guys.
Aguero would be, wouldn't
Aguero maybe
be
Yaya Toure might have been there by this point.
Yeah.
Company as well. And United are 2 points back from you guys in third on 20 points.
Right.
So that's where things are at.
Is this Fergie's last season? Or is it the penultimate season?
Possibly. I can't remember now, actually. Yeah, I think it might be when in the final game of the season, his last ever game was a 5-5 draw, wasn't it?
I love that so much.
The only time that's ever happened in the Premier League ever.
Yeah.
And it was Fergie's final game.
Because the thing that sort of really triggered this whole idea in my head was a match that I was playing in the garden with some of Miles, well, even Miles was tiny, but friends, and I suddenly became in my head this team, North London. We've been messing around on Hampstead Heath with this because I used to live in West Hampstead, which is where North London was originally born.
Well, that's where the home stadium is, isn't it?
Yeah, Lymington Road is the training area, but the main stadium is behind the tube station.
Yep.
At Swiss Cottage, the Finchley Road tube station.
So next time,
big development.
Yeah, if there's anybody listening who goes past there on their way to work or whatever, just imagine that is North London's home stadium. And next time you go past
stadium, state of the art,
Lymington Stadium, isn't it? I tell you what, Bob, we could start taking, because one of the massive ways to make money as a Premier League team these days is stadium sponsorship, isn't it? So if anyone's got any ideas about sponsoring the stadium, what do you think of that?
No, I wouldn't give the name up.
No?
It's the Lymington Stadium. That's it.
Not even like the
Lymington Emirates. No.
The Betfred Lymington Stadium or something like that.
Oh, that would be...
No, it's a bit like Old Trafford or Anfield, I suppose, isn't it?
Betfred. Yeah, no.
What would be the absolute sponsor that you would have to...
Any one of the betting companies.
You couldn't say yes.
Paddy Power.
The Paddy Power Lymington Stadium.
For God's sake.
What if it was like, I don't know, the Viagra Lymington Stadium or something like that? No?
No. No, Miles.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so you played this game on the green, and it was all in the garden, and that's what sparked off North London.
8-7 finished final score.
Yeah.
The best Premier League match ever.
And that was what sparked
North London 8, Manchester United 7. The greatest game ever played.
There you go. So speaking of North London, Bob, back to the results quick, because I know that the time is running on and we want to introduce our special guest soon.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
0-0 with Arsenal away.
Okay.
Not a terrible result.
Yeah.
1-0 against Newcastle at home, Benzema. But
yes,
listen to this subtitle to this, Bob.
Okay.
Sudden injury crisis.
Oh, right. What?
Unfortunately, we were talking about Giuseppe Rossi. He's out for 6 months.
Oh.
Now, what would have happened there to spark an injury that bad, Bob? Would you have tripped over?
In real. No. It probably would have. See,
okay.
I do factor in some of the injury moments.
In real life.
For players in real.
Yeah, did he break his leg or something at some point?
Something awful,
it's so unfair when a player has that many
I know.
injuries that just come out of the blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, but it also says here Benzema and Kaká are out for 2 to 3 weeks. So suddenly you're a bit thin on the ground in terms of squad.
The forwards, attacking players.
Yeah. So in the next game, you go back to a tried and tested 4-2-3-1.
Yes.
With Pato, Ozil, Villa, and Toklov as the front four.
Still not bad though, is it?
Not bad. No. I mean, you're technically playing 3 strikers really, but 2 of them you've got as wingers. Pato on the right is an interesting shout because I don't know if you've ever played there in real life, but I can see it working. Anyway, away at what would be the Reebok Stadium, right? When Bolton played there back in the day?
Yes.
Is it still the Reebok? No, it must be something else now.
Big Sam's not there still.
No, we were saying this last episode.
Owen Coyle.
That's right, yes. Or at least he was in 2010-11. He might have been sacked by this point. But anyway, so 1-0 away win.
Because he kept them in the league, didn't he?
Yeah. 1-0 away win. Sam Toklov with the goal. It says only 3 goals in the last 4 Premiership games. So the goals are drying up slightly. It leaves you now in 3rd.
Yeah.
29 points. You've played 11 games. United have played 13 games and they're on 30 points in 2nd.
Right.
City have played 12 games and they're on 34.
Yes.
So you're in amongst it, Bob.
Yeah.
Back from you, actually, Spurs have played a game more than you and they're only a point behind.
Okay.
So Spurs having a good season. This was possibly the year that they got into the Champions League with Peter Crouch scoring that goal. I fear.
This is Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, I feel like. And then the next game, QPR, 2-1 win. Ozil and my brother Dylan Myers-Coharris off the left-hand side gets his first goal of the season.
Yes.
4-0 home win against Blackburn. This is a bit more like it. Toklov with 2, Freddie Haynes with the goal, Schweinsteiger with the 4th.
Yeah.
And then away at Everton, a 2-0 win. Christian Eriksen scores, and so does Sam Toklov.
Yes.
Eriksen's first goal for the club, but it does say here, awful injury list. Out injured right now. Kaká, Benzema, Rossi, Ozil, and Dylan. All out.
Whoa. That's terrible.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, Bob,
yes.
the end of 2011, you are in 3rd.
Yes.
But you've played 2 games less than United and City. You're on 38 points, United on 39, City on 41. So,
has there been any indication from the commentaries there that I would have been away in America?
No, there hasn't actually. No, not yet.
And played the
no, there haven't.
Transatlantic Cup.
No, there hasn't been. But speaking of being away, obviously the European campaign would have been going on at the same time as this.
Yes.
So let's just have a little check-up as to how you were doing there. I've actually digitized this, Bob, so I've got my laptop in front of me here. So let's see, where are we?
This is very exciting.
A long way down.
Oh my goodness.
I'm scrolling, look at all this stuff. Nope, still not there yet. Still scrolling.
The European file on my PC.
Yeah, because Europe is all one file, isn't it?
It's all one file.
Here we go, 2011-12.
And it's something like 107 pages or something.
Here you go, Bob. Right, so group stage, you were drawn with Lille, CSK in Moscow, and Trabzonspor. So quite a kind group, I dare say.
A lot of travelling, though.
A lot of travelling.
Hell of a lot of travelling.
So the first game was a home game against Trabzonspor. 6-0 battering there.
6-0 battering.
Benzema with 2, Villa with 1, Ozil with 1, Haynes with 1, and Dylan with a late goal in the 88th minute.
Very good.
Then away in Moscow, 3-0 win there. Toklov, Kaká, and Godin.
Yes.
Then away at Lille, it's a 0-0 draw there, which is something that you actually do. You said you do sometimes play for.
There are 2 ways that a 0-0 draw can happen, okay? One is that I literally play for a 0-0 draw. Which a 0-0 draw will happen if I'm just so busy I can't play a match.
Right.
So in the end, I think, how do I get over this? I just put it down as a 0-0
I think that's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
This is so we were reading out quote tweets from our sort of viral tweet earlier. This is my absolute favourite of them all, which just says, "Love this man. Look at the top of the results. boy's mum in bed on a Saturday night with the horn while his dad's sitting deep in the hallway playing for a 0-0 draw against himself. I think that's so good. So you literally were sitting deep in the hallway playing for a 0-0 draw against yourself?
Against myself.
With that game against Lille. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right.
You follow it up with a 3-0 win at home against Lille. Benzema, Hummels and Toklo. Another 0-0 though, away at Trabzonspor.
Yeah.
Who you beat, it looks like a second string team though. Ben Granville's playing up front. Ben Granville, who is one of my oldest mates. We actually went to the Oval.
We went to the Oval to watch Surrey the other night.
Well, it was so good because we had the files of stuff in the car, and on the way back, Ben, he was asking us loads of questions. And then you actually lose to CSK in Moscow, Bob.
Wow.
But I think...
What do I say?
Well, I think you're already qualified, so you've played a second string again. It says CSK too strong for already qualified team weakened by injury, which we know about, obviously.
So what is the team then? Just quickly.
So the team is Mark Barnard in goal. You've got Booker, Hofland, Hummels, and Simon Kjær across the back four.
Who?
Kjær. He's a Danish centre back, I think. It's interesting that you're playing him left back.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting, Bob. You've got Schweinsteiger and Cameron, who I can only think is
Cameron who's now at Atlantic Records.
Is my schoolmate Cameron Stanton. And actually, if we look at the squad list, it didn't say he was on. It didn't say he was in the transfers in, but I guess he must have graduated from the academy because it says number 41, Cameron, age 18.
There we go.
So Cameron played a game in defensive midfield is where he's been playing.
Yeah, he's head of streaming nowadays at Atlantic Records.
He is. He's one of my oldest schoolmates from secondary school, and he is literally head of streaming. Anyway, Schweinsteiger and Cameron with Pato, Eriksson, and Bennett at left wing. That's an interesting shout. Behind Ben Granville up front. So that was the team that lost 2-0 to CSKA in Moscow.
Yeah, well, that's a not strong team.
No, so there it was. But anyway, it means that you still qualify top of the group with 11 points, and it leaves you in the last 16 game against Marseille, who obviously you played in the Mediterranean Cup in pre-season.
Yes.
So that's where we're at. So in terms of the results, we're going to leave it there. But don't go anywhere, folks, because in a second or two we're going to introduce our very special guest today.
We're going to move the chair in.
Yeah, he's going to come and join us in the centre of the set. This is a man who we've been hearing about. Actually, scored a few goals through the 2011-12 season.
Yes.
Sits in fourth on the all-time North London top scorers list, which is no mean feat.
Yes.
He's only one of two players who've scored more than 100 goals in the Premier League.
And I know what that asterisk is for. I've suddenly remembered.
So on the overall scorers list, basically it goes down, and in fourth is our guest here, and it says Premier League goals 102 with an asterisk.
And he was the first to reach 100. That's why I asterisked him.
Which makes him even more of a legend by all accounts.
Yeah.
23 goals in Europe, 14 goals in the Cups, 6 goals in the World Club Championships. He scored 145 goals altogether. One of the absolute stalwarts of North London history, Bob.
Yeah.
And who is
legends.
it? A legend. And so who is our special guest that's about to join us?
It's Dylan.
It's like, how long can the crowd stay interested for?
It's the build-up, Dylan.
Well, we're delighted to be joined by North London royalty. Well, actually, to be fair, between the two of us, we've probably got the most appearances of everybody. I would say.
Yeah.
So, Sanuj, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Bobbers?
Right. So, as we were introducing you, then, Dylan.
Yeah.
So
look at your record.
You're
Dylan.
fourth on the all-time top scorer list, but you were saying just off air then you actually thought you would have scored more goals than your.
Well, I'm just thinking. So because you were a keeper forever, right?
Yeah.
So
I scored. How many goals have I scored?
Mars got a goal.
I've got one.
Yeah, big up.
So you've
free kick.
definitely tripped me.
Well, Mars came up from goal and took.
Yeah, he did in the hall.
And banged it in.
Yeah, banged it in.
Legendary moment.
I'm joint 115th on the all-time top scorers list, along with Simon Astor, Jonna.
John's only got one goal. That's so
Alex
funny.
Tellez. Edgar Davids as well got a goal.
So the only reason, so don't get me wrong, so I think I'm fourth all-time top scorer, but second in the Prem, am I right in thinking?
Yes.
Hit the Premier League 100 club.
Freddie Haynes is the only one above you.
Crazy.
In the Prem.
My only logic is, especially, I guess it's probably a more modern concern, is I'd imagine I've got loads of appearances for you.
Yes.
Like hundreds and hundreds.
I don't know how many.
I mean,
exactly.
like, if so... 600 maybe if I played that long, 500 appearances, I would guess.
No, because you would have come into the team season 2003 would it have been somewhere around there, Miles?
Okay.
Oh, God, no.
So
am I still playing?
No.
No, retired.
No, you're about 44 now.
Can I
in the North London world? Although, as we've been going through this episode, you've scored a fair few goals for North London in the 2011 to 12 season.
Yes.
At which point you are 30.
Okay.
So
that's kind of still in my prime.
Yeah.
That's actually almost what I am now. So
yeah,
this would be my around my season.
12, 13 years ago.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I guess my goals to game ratio probably isn't that amazing. That's why I was thinking maybe I would have scored a few more.
Well, I think like you are a bit of a North London's Ryan Giggs in a way.
Yes.
Because later on in your career, I think Bob, you were saying that he kind of became
went back into.
Did I lose my pace?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And you went back into that exact role that Ryan Giggs started playing for United. Just in front of the back four, linking everything together, suddenly appearing on the wing or suddenly appearing at the inside left.
What was my? So was I left winger for the whole bit? Yeah. What was my game? Taking people on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, we would all, wouldn't we, when we were watching United, we'd be shouting, "Run at them, Ryan! Run at them, Ryan!"
Run at them, Ian.
Ian. Right.
So was I in competition with Ian Giggs for that left wing spot?
Yeah. Until he left, and then it was your position.
It was my position. Okay.
I mean, so in terms of 2011 to 12, we're not going to spoil anything else for the next episode, but you did score a very important goal just before you came on. We were talking about Sunday. 86th minute against QPR, you got the winner in a 2-1 victory.
Okay.
So you're contributing even into your 30s.
Clutch player.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice.
So in real life though.
I haven't had quite the career that I've had in Bob's head.
No, but you're a music as well.
I am. Yes.
Right? What do you do for your job then, for all the listeners? And
so
watchers?
I can shout out my company. I'll ask for a bonus.
Go for it.
Yeah. How many listeners do you have? Spreading the word.
2.6 million.
Yeah. So I'm the current UK A&R manager for a music publisher called Peer Music. So big independent global music publisher.
The biggest independent music publisher in the world.
That's right.
There you go.
And do Peer know about Bob's mental North?
A couple of my colleagues do. I'm sure you guys are having this almost like weekly now, but it's such a massive topic to describe that you can't really
begin.
You can't really give the kind of like 2-minute coffee pitch. It needs about a week's worth. So
I've tried to describe it obviously to people as well, because for me and Dylan and our sister Flo, growing up, like Bob, you'd just be playing these games around the house, and we were kind of just watching you do it and think it was normal. Do you remember any specific moments where you were like, you caught Bob in the middle of a game?
Well, no, this is so funny. So literally on, I don't know how far ahead this goes out, but England's game against Denmark, so on Thursday, where we currently are now.
Yes.
I was at the pub in London, and completely randomly, I booked a table to get a screen, and the table next to me was actually some mates of mine that work in music as well.
Yes.
So we didn't book together, but they ended up being next to. And one of the guys, this chap called Rowan, was chatting to me, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, I was on Twitter the other day, and just like randomly." This video popped up, and so first he was like, "Oh, that guy kind of looks like Dylan." It was obviously it's you,
right?
So he basically thought I'd grown like a bigger beard or something, and then he started watching it, and it's the one that's gone viral. I'm sure loads of people have seen it.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, "Sorry, can you swear on this podcast?"
Yes.
You gotta go. Yeah. So he was just like, "What the fuck is this?" and I was like, "Oh man, like where do I actually even start with this?" So I got talking to him about it, and there was another guy there, strangely also called Dylan. Spelt the wrong way though for people back home, and so he had no concept of this at all. So kind of the perfect pub chat, like over beers.
Yeah.
Whilst the football is half time, I'm kind of giving them this pitch of like, it was when you're young, you don't realise that it's weird because it's just what your dad does.
Yes.
But I was saying to them, I remember we were on holiday in Portugal, which I think you have like a warm weather training facility or something.
Yes, that's right.
And I got up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. And it's probably like midnight, and I remember it had that like it was a good place to play this ridiculous game. Actually, it was marble floor and everything. Wasn't it? And so
that was the World Club Championship, 2002.
And so I get up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, and you're there, deep into the mat. And as I'm walking to the bathroom, you go 3-1. And I go, "Oh, okay," and I'm like 7 or something.
Nice, Bob.
And you were like, "Oh yeah, so and so scored a great goal." I was like, "Oh, good." And then it's only thinking back, it's like, we're going on holiday. What are you packing? Like, trunks, some shorts, and everything. And Bob's packed a foam football in his suitcase to play out an international competition.
I back it.
That's where was it Sam Toklove got a broken toe?
Possibly.
Oh, because you stubbed your toe on something.
I broke my toe.
Oh, God's sake.
Yeah.
Or like even coming down for breakfast the next day.
Find this. I'm going to try.
And you being like, hell of a game last night.
Last night.
And it's like,
Here we go. 2002. Was
yes.
it? I've got it.
The World Club Championship.
Yeah, so I would have been like 7 or something.
Yes.
I wonder what the game was that I wonder if we can find it. So Bob, you were drawn in a group with River Plate, Landskrona, and Club Nigeria. This is great.
This is what I was with, just on a family holiday. On the plane over, you're drawing up your fixtures.
Yes.
We're like, Dad, can we go to the beach? You're like, no, I'm playing Landskrona, guys. Leave me to it.
And was it in Portugal you actually broke your toe as well?
Yeah, it was,
So you couldn't come to like the water park because you've injured yourself in real life as well as in your game.
It is. Okay, right, I've got it. It's in the second group stage, Bob.
Okay.
So North London come through the first group stage, beating Landskrona, River Plate, and Club Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then you go into a second group table with Palmeiras, Atlético Nacional, and Pachna.
How are you? Do you know the logic of how you
Brazil,
even
Colombia, and
these
Mexico
teams?
they're from.
Oh, I spent hours researching them all, making sure that the draw was evenly sort of distributed around the whole world.
Yeah, so
ridiculous.
the Club World Championship is in place of the actual World Cup, right?
Yes.
So anyway, I've found the exact game, Bob.
Right.
It happens to be a 0-0 draw. Against Athletic Nacional of Colombia. And it says here, Dexter suffers broken foot out for 3 to 4 months.
Oh, my goodness.
It also says Figo damages ankle, doubtful for next game.
Oh
no.
Wow.
Man.
Which was against Palmeiras, a 2-0 win. Ian Giggs and Zidane with the goals there. I wonder if we have actually. So for those listening that are wondering about this World Club Championship, we did a special episode on it.
We did.
We covered this.
Yeah.
So the World Club is this a tournament that you've invented?
Yes.
How come?
Because
it's in place of the World Cup, isn't it?
in place of the World Cup.
Yeah.
In place of the World Cup.
And don't forget that United had played the World Club Championship.
Club World Cup,
Club World Cup.
Yeah,
which,
in the treble winning. No, was it the season
in fact, they
before?
missed the FA Cup to take part. It was very controversial.
It was a big controversy, I remember.
Yeah. Well, I'd been playing this. Now, that's one of the very, very first things I instigated. 1994 was my first one.
I was going to say, because it goes back as far as 2002 in typed up form. But this wasn't the first World Club Championship.
No, it wasn't. Because Cantona was the star for me. This is before I made the rule that I can't have players from other teams.
Right.
So Cantona was just my man for 2 of those competitions.
Here we go, Bob. How many goals do you think Eric Cantona scored?
79.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't even need to finish the sentence.
79.
79.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
so there we go. So
me.
At this point in 2002,
yes,
Dylan, I'm not sure you're in the team yet.
I would have been
would you have been in the team?
That might have been my first.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Yeah. Would have been one of my first seasons.
Yeah. You came off the bench for Ian Giggs in the first game.
A sign of things to come. Yeah.
And the following 2 games. So you obviously, you were played.
You're breaking into the team, Dylan.
Okay. Yeah. How old would I have been there? So I'm 22 there and 7 in real life.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, man.
But you see, also, don't forget, you two used to play endlessly. We had 3 of us used to play endlessly in the garden, setting up for skulls volleys.
Yeah, we did.
You know, those little patterns of play. I was the apex, wasn't I? And you two would be running into
Bobsty and Schweinsteiger.
Yes.
Amazing. Oh, man. Has there been a section on our attempts? I guess it's slightly off topic of our attempts of Paul Scholes.
There has, In fact, actually, we could try and do another one. Although we've got a ball.
We've got one which is kind of flat, but it could work.
We always try and recreate goals in the goal.
Well, you did post one that you scored.
Actually, I did see that as well. Yeah. Strike was fine, but delivery was sensational.
Yes.
So you're, I guess, now part of the backroom staff at North London these days, Bob. Is that true?
You're head of special projects.
What does that even mean?
What kind of special projects am I doing?
Special projects. It sounds like you've got a pretty cool.
Yeah. When we win the league, I organise the party.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. No, the thing is, I mean, one of the things that surprises me about major football teams and clubs is how little activity they instigate outside of football.
Okay.
You put on big music events
at the Leamington Stadium.
At the Leamington Stadium.
At the Leamington Stadium.
Yeah.
A fun fact, actually, I'm sure maybe you said this before, but actually where I currently live in London, I live in West Hampstead.
Yes.
And I am quite literally a couple of minutes walk from
the Leamington Stadium.
Which is the whole shopping centre bit that's now the big Sainsbury's and everything, right?
That's right.
That would be...
That's the stadium.
It's the O2 Finchley Road Centre, for anyone that's a nerd and actually wants it. That's what it's called.
Yes.
The O2 Finchley Road Centre. It's right in between West Hampstead and Finchley Road overground stations.
Yes.
It's now got like a View Cinema, a big Sainsbury's, and
that is the home.
But in this warped reality,
we're going to do a little outing.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Podcast and go to the home stadium.
Because you know the training centre.
Yeah.
Halfway down Leamington Road
is the Hampstead Cricket Ground.
That's my training centre.
I know it is.
But we need to do a game of no halves on the road. We need to report live from the training centre.
To be honest,
let's do this.
There are games going on again. Like this is like a stone's throw from my flat now.
Yeah.
And the Hampstead Cricket Ground has games going on, and you can just rock up. It's a lovely ground, by the way.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So any Northwest London listeners,
there you go.
You can see what in reality
on the
is.
Ground.
Yeah, the O2 Finchley Road Centre is incredibly underwhelming, but just know.
But the stadium is state of the art.
Well, there we go. I think we should do that. We'll do an episode on the road at the various locations.
Yeah.
Next episode, we'll find out what happens in the conclusion of the 2011 to 12 season.
Okay. Yes.
Where are you? How is it going at the moment?
So right now
we're third.
Right now, third, but you are essentially level on points with everybody on you. Hang on a second, let me find it. So you're third. You have played 14 games.
Yes.
Who's first?
Man City are first.
Okay.
So you've played 14. United are a point ahead, but they've played 16.
Yeah.
And City are 2 points ahead of them, but they've also played 16. So
I think the reason I've got games in hand is I would have played a couple of matches in America, exhibition games in America, in Nashville.
Okay.
Well, because during the season?
Yeah, because in Real, I went over there for the CMAs for Radio 2. Yeah. So the Vanderbilt Stadium nearby, and then of course the big one, the Nissan Stadium.
Oh yeah.
78,000 people. So this is when Nashville were just beginning to think about the idea of joining the MLS. They haven't done yet, but they are becoming a kind of feeder club,
right.
A sort of nursery team for North London, and we are the big partner for them, setting up their side.
So you were in early.
In Nashville.
Now you have the likes of Wrexham and everything going out for the MLS, but North London FC.
No, I mean
they were there early.
I know that I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but there are a lot of firsts with North London, not least of which tactically, this idea of the inverted fullbacks.
Yeah.
I invented those.
One of our pinned posts on Instagram is a graphic with you just saying, "I taught Pep Guardiola all he knows."
It's true. No, it's actually true.
I mean, even giving me the backroom staff title was like head of specialist projects or whatever it is. That is an advanced role that I think doesn't exist in, say, for example, Man United.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think it does.
But you see, I've created that role for you, Dylan, and you are using your phenomenal creative imagination to come up with lots of different plans as to how you can use the stadium, what events take place there.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay, so you're just taking on your role as head of special events. Right. What is the first event you're putting on at the Leamington Stadium?
At the Leamington Stadium, man.
Taylor Swift.
Absolutely not, no. She sadly, Bob, she's one of the few people that does not need North London.
No, she doesn't. Mind you, no, she could do like 15 nights or something.
Oh, dear me.
We should do that at Wembley, basically.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, man, the first event. Well, it'd have to stand out because... What year did I get appointed? Because now obviously at the big stadiums you get like NFL games, you get like WWE, like all this kind of stuff. So
it's got to be something out of the box, out of ordinary thinking.
Yes,
I would run a day festival there. I take it your grounds, technologically advanced enough that
absolutely
you wouldn't mess up the pitches.
Real Madrid, the pitch can withdraw.
Oh,
and something.
What about under pitch rave?
Yeah, I think the North London nightclub or something like that.
Yeah, the turf withdraws.
The North London nightclub.
I think hosting a day festival at North London FC
would be cool, man.
Also because Northwest London actually is significantly lacking any kind of big musical event. Nothing really goes on.
That's it, Dylan.
Northwest London's musical history, places like the Railway and everything, the old Decca Studios, which are in West Hampstead, I think as well, is very strong. But currently, all the London, say, day festivals, they happen in Victoria Park, in Brockwell Park, Hampstead Heath, or specifically now North London FC Stadium.
And you were right about that, Dylan, because West Hampstead was quite a centre for little venues. The Railway. I saw Fleetwood Mac in their blues days at the Railway.
Actually, this is one that you can, when you do the editing, and we can chuck up. We've got a selfie there. The Railway now is the Railway Pub, which is actually a very good sports boozer. It's one of those pubs which I love, where it's not a pub you go into other than to watch sport. If you go in there for like a 4 o'clock pint on a Thursday, you're not doing well. No. You don't really want to be there.
So, Dylan, if you listen to the podcast, we do a thing on the show each week where we do a Premier League goal scorers quiz. Here's my proviso for this.
Okay.
We'll do the Premier League goal scorers quiz, but let's do it with the season that we're in with North London and with you, Dylan. So you can try and guess how many goals you score in the 2011-12 season. Right?
So I'm 30. Can I?
So you're 30 years old. I'll tell you how many appearances you make.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
So you're 30 years old and you make 40 appearances in the 2011-12 season. How many goals do you think you get in total?
Am I still playing left winger at 30? Okay. 12.
Okay, Bob.
15.
Okay. So the rule is. The closest person gets a point. If you get it bang on, you get 3 points. So you said 12.
I did.
Bob said 15. In total, Dylan Meisger-Harris for 2011-2012 got 13.
One goal off getting bang on as well.
I'm so bad at this.
This is your own made-up team.
Yeah, he says Eric Cantona, he gets it within half a second, but his own son, he can't even get the right score.
Favoritism there. Right, and on that, well, you end the episode with a victory. Congratulations.
Very good.
So we're going to end it there. Thank you for joining us today, Dylan.
Thank you.
North London legend, absolute royalty to be in the studio with us.
Yes.
Really hope you've enjoyed the podcast, guys. If you have, please rate us 5 stars and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on socials at A Game of No Halves. We'll be posting clips of the
Twitter.
podcast.
I mean, come on. And we're going to film a little match of me kicking the football around
Which
the house.
we're about to do that right now. So follow us on socials and you'll be able to see videos.
Also, do you do like Q&As and stuff, or questions coming in and stuff? North London FC Festival, send us your submissions for the lineup, which has a tenuous link to football.
Okay, I like it.
Good plan,
I like
that.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks for listening and for watching if you're watching us on YouTube. And we'll see you next week for the conclusion of the 2011-2012 season.
I've loved this episode. This has been great. We've included so much in it. And you'll be able to see an actual match, or at least a little section of a match taking place. So watch our socials.
As long as it's not a 0-0.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. See you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.